This is the brand new T250 Launch Spec from Titleist.
Nice. You just see the difference in that ball flight, can't you? It's so much higher and softer.
I mean, we've hit a lot of 7-irons in this studio, and you've tested a lot of 7-irons and never seen one launch that high. And today we're going to be showing you exactly how this performs at a bit of a slower swing speed and comparing it to the normal T250, so both at a slow swing speed and then later on Tom hits it at his mid to higher swing speed with a bit of a different delivery. So we're going to be giving you different speeds and different delivery characteristics and showing you who this head could potentially be fantastic for. We're edging in on 50,000 subscribers, but we need your help to get there. So if you enjoy the content we create and you find it valuable, please do us a favor, check if you're subscribed. And if you're not, go down, smash that subscribe button, help us grow, and we'd be really, really grateful.
So we're going to start off in the standard T250. Just going to get some baseline data, low 70s swing speed.
Yeah, aim for mid 70s, yeah.
Yep, and then standard loft, so 30.5 degrees. So yeah, let's get some data and then we'll take a look at the launch spec. That's nice.
That felt good, yeah, it was a really good strike. Good hole.
A really good shot, really good shot. Launching 18.7, spinning, yeah, 4.6.
Yeah.
142 carry, nice and efficient, 136.
Yeah, people have probably seen we've done a few videos with this at this sort of swing speed, and that's in and around the numbers we were seeing, right?
It is,
19 launch, 4.5 spin. It's kind of same, right? So we probably don't have to show too many shots with this, but that is pretty much where it's at.
Cool.
That was actually a groove thin, so that would be interesting.
Yeah, that will be.
Again,
interesting to see if that spin kicks up or whether it maintains under 5. It's almost identical. 18.2 launch, 4.5 spin. I mean, you said it was a couple of grooves low.
Yeah.
So you'd normally expect to see that spin kick up, that launch drop slightly, but yeah, maintained pretty well.
There's an argument to say that's not a bad thing, really.
No, not at all. Super consistent.
Yeah, consistent launch and spin around the face is kind of what they're trying to gear towards nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, and carrying around 134, so still hitting the front edge of the green. I'd be interested to see the ball flight on that. So this is maybe the challenge we might have with these irons, isn't it? Is kind of this 60 feet peak height, 38.3 descent, kind of in those other videos, we were seeing this being quite a hot flight, wasn't it? This sort of T250 for your delivery.
Yeah. In fairness, that was a bit thin. What was the one a second ago?
68.40.
Yeah. So still low, better, but still low, right? I mean, again, in a fitting scenario, personally, for us, I would always say trying to get peak height minimum to swing speed, above if we can. Obviously, we know there's that magic 45-degree land angle number for a 7-iron we love to get to, because at 45 degrees, the momentum shifts to more vertical rather than more horizontal, so it increases that stopping power. That can be a challenge at this swing speed, to be fair, but certainly 68 feet, 60 to 65 feet is just too low. Felt pretty good.
Yeah, that sounded lovely.
Launched up a little bit more, that one, but did hit that well.
It's a pretty good golf shot, isn't it? Just holding back edge. Just touch a little bit on your delivery. So you're generally someone who can be a little bit from the inside. So on this occasion, around kind of 4 from the inside. Obviously, when you're that inside, you have to play with a bit of a closed face if you want to hit a functional shot. So obviously playing with that closed face and the fact that you can get a bit handle leaner, you do take off a fair amount of loft. So just to give some context, so 24.8 degrees in loft delivered at this speed, that's obviously, very much leading into that quite hot flight.
Yes. Too much at this speed.
Yeah, exactly that. So for this speed, with this sort of delivery, if you're someone who can get a little bit similar to this, then that's where this T250 might be causing you a little bit of an issue with your ball flight.
100%.
Yeah, it's a nice golf shot, that.
Yeah, it was really good. Slightly right side as well. So again, we know that potentially the face wasn't as closed, the loft will come up, launch will come up. So that's about probably as high as we're going to see that one fly.
So yeah, so now we're sort of up at that 75 peak height, which is kind of like you said, where our target would be at this kind of speed, at least. Mid-70s speed, and then obviously mid-70s peak height. And then that 42.8, it's like, it's not great, but it's starting to get manageable. But that's with you having to have that one where you have the face a little bit open.
Yeah.
When you closed one a couple of shots ago, that's the one that then can get quite hot.
Exactly that. It's almost like when we're fitting, we're taking into account, well, what is your standard shot? If more often than not, obviously we're playing from the inside, we're hitting a draw, we know that's going to reduce spin, and that will reduce that land angle. Okay, the one where we kind of start it out right and it stays right, obviously the launch will increase and you're going to get a better height and land angle, but we can't obviously hold on to that in the fitting and go, we're always going to do that, because we're probably not. So you're right, that's as high as it's going to go, and if that's as high as it's going to go, me as a fitter, I'd be saying I want to get that higher.
Yeah, exactly. So some really good consistent data there, mate. So we'll just have a quick run through the averages. Ball speed 101, launch 19.3, spin around that kind of 4.5, 140 carry. I mean, it's very consistent with what we've seen lately when we've been testing this iron at this speed.
100%.
So great, yeah, some really good data. And peak height was 69 feet with a descent angle of 40.5. So yeah, really consistent with what we've seen recently when we've been testing this iron. So yeah, let's jump into launch spec. What do you think, mate?
The old launch spec-a-rooney. Yeah, I mean, it sounds stupid, but it just looks like it's got a hell of a lot more loft on it, which obviously it has. And it sounds stupid when you say it, but you look down and it's just like pointing up at you. So yeah, 35 degrees of loft, same head construction, 6 gram lighter head weight, isn't it, than the standard? So designed obviously create more speed, create more launch, similar construction, just more loft with a lighter head weight. So it'll be really interesting. I guess one of the things we can't test, obviously, because I am limiting my swing speed, is if someone would pick up a little bit more swing speed with a lighter head.
Right. Okay. Yes, that's true.
I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a very fair point.
I'm limiting it on purpose. Maybe later, actually, we could get you to hit a couple with both and just see if you see any. Yeah. That'd be a good thing to do.
Okay. Nice.
Sounded better. I think that was a little bit better.
That was a really good strike. You can just see the difference in that ball flight, can't you? It's so much higher and softer.
Oh yeah, it's definitely launching higher. And I mean, again, that was probably, a millimetre high on the face, a bit higher launch, a bit lower spin.
And again, that kind of 75 peak height, 43.8 land angle. It's getting much more into that kind of functional area, isn't it?
Well, yeah, again, because their face was 4 degrees close to the path. I know it looks like it's gone pretty straight, but we still turned that over and it finished left of the line. So we're still getting a much more functional flight with face quite heavily close to the path.
Yes.
I think if we were to see that little push one, which I'm sure we will see at some point, I reckon that could be 80 plus feet in the air. That felt really nice.
Yeah, that was a lovely golf shot.
It's just, I mean, this is probably worth touching on because that is maybe, again, not the fairest example because I swung that 78.4, but I'm really struggling to keep the speed down with this setup.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously you've got a light shaft, you've got that lighter head weight now that we've moved into that.
Yeah.
Maybe that is giving you that extra couple of miles an hour, which is then going to offset some of that kind of drop in distance with the loft being higher. So actually, that one there was 138 carry. 20.6 launch, 6,000 spin from a pretty good strike. So if I go back and have a quick look at the original T250 data, we were averaging 140 with the best of, you hit one at 146, which was a bit of a pull.
Yeah.
And a 143 again, which was actually, that's probably more represented. That was a fairly straight shot. So you're talking 138, you're talking like 4 or 5 yards. But that functionality in flight now coming up 44.5 descent and almost 80 feet peak height.
Yeah.
So much more functional. And you've lost, 4 yards there on those best to best?
And again, I don't think that was the best strike in all honesty. I still haven't properly caught one with this yet. But I suppose it's hard to say because that's going to be very subjective to the player whether or not they did gain speed. Because if they didn't, obviously they might lose a bit more yardage. So it's hard. It's going to be different for everyone, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes.
But it definitely feels like I'm trying to swing slow and it's just... We've had a few now where I've gone too quick. Well, we didn't really have any with the last setup.
No, and you're normally quite good at controlling your speed. Like you've got a good feel. So yeah, if you're struggling to actually get it below 77, 78, it's probably because it is actually moving a little bit quicker.
It's much easier to move faster.
Yeah.
And turn over.
Yeah, we are seeing a bit more of a left bias.
Definitely more left.
Which is what I'd expect to see. If somebody normally goes lighter, they're normally a little bit quicker and a little bit easier to square the face.
Yeah.
That's normally what we would see. That looked really good.
That was close. That was
in. Is that a bit quick?
It's a bit, no, well, 75. It's a bit toey, if anything.
Yeah, so 22.8, 5.7.
It's a remarkable amount more spin, isn't it?
Remarkable amount more spin, yeah. And again, I know we are carrying it a little bit less, but it's not massive, is it?
It's not dramatic, I wouldn't say. And again, we always talk about getting a functional flight and hitting it kind of where you should for your swing speed. And for me, swinging at 75, I think you should be carrying a 7-iron around 135.
So do I. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's going to be somewhere between 135 and 140, isn't it?
Yeah, with a pretty functional flight. I mean, it'd be interested to see what that one was. Yeah, 82.46 descent. That's so much better.
Starting to look like a more, I would say I would call this a mid-iron. It's more of a mid-iron flight now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas, the first few shots with the standard T250 were very hot. They were like quite rainbowy.
Yeah.
Didn't look like they were, didn't look like a mid-iron flight to me.
That was a really good strike.
Yeah, that looked like a nice swing. How's the speed?
76.
Yeah, that's really good.
Just looks like a better flight as well, doesn't it?
It
Like
does,
when we
yeah.
normally do this testing and you test it like mid-70s, it's like, oh, that's hot, oh, that's hot.
I know.
Just with almost everything you hit. But
Yeah.
actually, that looks like it's got a nice bit of flight, a nice bit of spin, staying in the air a bit longer. It's really nice.
Yeah, I just think it looks really good. It looks like a proper iron flight.
Yeah.
So many times at this speed, it just looks like it's just diving out the air.
Yeah.
You know, no hope of stopping on a firm green.
From our perspective now with this kind of sure fit sleeve, I think it's called that, but it's a similar concept to Titleist's actual wood. You've got a dual cog system. We've got something like, we've got 28 different loft and lie settings on this now. So if we're really dialing people in, I mean, with all the options that Titleist give us and including that now, such a powerful fitting tool. And that's where I think the manufacturers are getting better. Okay, technology is great and that's good. But giving us more options allows you to get a better fit. And that is what's really going to make a difference to the scores.
Yeah, that sounded pretty good. That was more up the face, wasn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, again, pretty good number. Oh, go on. And again, even that, look, that was slightly up the face, sort of maybe a groove high. And look at that, 22.5 launch, 5.7 spin. So even on that slightly high strike, spin still retains. 137 carry. Again, 45.8 land angle, 83 peak height. It's doing so well, isn't it?
Really well.
So quick run through the club data. Speed, we did see about a couple of miles an hour difference, about 1.5 miles to 2 miles an hour. And again, you were saying that was really maybe coming from that difference in the head weights. It'd be really hard to see, and we'd obviously have to test that out. But we did see that slight difference. But in terms of the rest of the delivery data, I mean, it's so similar, it's scary. 3.1 to 3.1 angle of attack, 4.5 to 4.6 path, face, dynamic lie. I mean, it's all so close. Obviously, the one thing we did see a big difference in is the dynamic loft, which we'd expect. Statically, there was 4.5 degrees difference, and we saw about 4.5 degrees difference
at impact.
Dynamically. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So jumping over to the ball data. So we saw a very small difference in ball speed. So 101 versus 99.3. Again, we'd expect to see that with slightly higher loft. 19.3 versus 22 launch. So around 3 degrees difference in launch. And then really significant, the spin. So around 1,300 revs difference in spin.
Yeah.
And all of that equates to a 140 carry in the original versus 134 in the launch spec. So you're probably giving up 5-6 yards.
Yeah.
In reality. But in terms of what you're gaining in flight, so you've got 69 peak height versus 80.
Yeah.
Which is really significant.
Massive.
40.4 versus 44.9. So for giving up 4 to 5 yards, maybe 6 yards, you're gaining a significant amount of stopping power in your flight.
And people kind of forget that spin creates balance as well, right?
Yeah, it does.
Like, especially, 100%. So if we've got someone in the bay with a bit of a drawy ball flight, which tends to be quite low spin, we do want to try and get that spin up, whether it's irons or whether it's driver, because that is going to reduce the miss. More spin will create less curvature.
Yes.
So that's going to give a much more balanced flight. Not only the peak height better, not only the descent better, the miss is going to become better as well. So there's lots of positives. And like you say, if you're giving up half a club, probably on average, which is probably what it would be, 4 to 5, 6 yards, it's not really a dramatic loss in distance.
Not really. No. And actually, if you purely looked at the static loft, you'd expect more.
Yeah, you'd expect to see more of a drop going.
You would.
Almost 5 degrees difference in loft. And to be fair, you did mention swing speed, so we were trying our best to keep it the same, but this was just so much easier to swing faster. It was 1.5 mile an hour quicker, more consistently. And I actually think if we get you to hit this in a minute compared to the T250, I reckon we'd see you swing this slightly faster.
Yeah, I think we will too.
So I don't think that's an unfair data comparison.
No, I think it's really cool. And I think it really shows and highlights the difference of what they're trying to achieve with that launch spec.
Absolutely. I think the only other thing to touch on briefly is obviously dispersion there looks very, very similar, front to back, left to right. It was a little bit more down the left side, their launch spec. I did find it was turning over a little bit easier. That is my miss anyway, so it could have just been a bit me, but I was seeing it go a little bit left, which we said, obviously the lighter head weight for a lot of people would find that easy to square up. So possibly for you, it could be a little bit more left-sided, but as always, you have to go get fitted and test for yourself. Quick point I want to touch on. A lot of people will say you should be using the 8 iron in the T250 to compare to the 7 iron in the T250 launch spec because the lofts match better. Yes and no. There's a couple of reasons that we haven't done. Number one, we use 7 irons for fittings. We get 7 irons as a demo head, not free of charge, but a lot cheaper, and before the actual sets come out. So we got given the head straight away. We wanted to film, get this video out, because we haven't really seen anyone else do it. So that's definitely one of the factors there. We got the head, we wanted to film, we wanted to get content out. Yes, we could absolutely compare it to the 8 iron, and if this video gets 1,500 likes, we will buy an 8 iron to the spec with the shaft, set it all up, and we will compare it against the Launch Spec 7 iron. So in terms of set makeup and composition, from a fitting perspective, we're really looking at the strongest lofted iron that you could play and still get a functional ball flight, player to player, and that will vary. For me, in this specific video, swinging at 75 mile an hour with these delivery characteristics, we'd be saying 30-degree iron, whatever that is probably the strongest lofted iron you're going to play based on ball flight. So in the Launch Spec, you could probably get away with going 6 iron and you'd be fine, maybe even 5 iron. In the standard T250s, you'd be stopping at 7 iron, which a lot of people wouldn't like the idea of just stopping at 7. But yeah, from a loft gapping perspective, if you've got T250 standard from 7 iron to gap wedge, it's not dissimilar from just getting the Launch Spec from 6 to pitching wedge. Obviously, you'd have to tweak the gap wedge a degree, but you could make the loft gaps exactly the same. So you could get that exact set and go 7 to gap wedge or 6 to pitching wedge if you really wanted. Potentially, they might be the same. And I say potentially, it's because they say the construction of this T250 Launch Spec is basically the T250, just with added loft. But again, it's lighter weight, which is going to have a difference for a lot of people when it comes to swing speed. And if we took the 8 iron in the T250, not only is it half an inch shorter, that head weight is going to be probably 12 grams heavier than the Launch Spec in the 7 iron. So all of a sudden you've got a much heavier head at half an inch difference in terms of the length. That is going to have a difference on velocity, and velocity will increase ball speed. Increased ball speed will increase height and distance and land angle and all those good things. So yes, theoretically, loft for loft, they could be the same, but actually we might get that and do that test. Again, 1,500 likes, we'll get it, we'll do the test.
So should we test it with my delivery now, which if you're watchers of the channel, you'll know I'm actually probably on the lofty side.
You are.
So something like this actually could become a little bit comical. So stick around.
Shall I show an accurate representation of your swing?
Yeah, do it, mate. Yeah, do an impression of my swing.
This is Tom's swing.
Actually, you might.
That's actually a class shot.
You might have matched my speed there.
I did. And actually, that's 87 swing speed, 34 delivered loft. I think that's exactly what you're going to do.
Well, so we know exactly how far to set the green, don't we? 145.
Right, Tom's just going to hit a couple with the normal T250 as a baseline before moving into the Launch Spec. That sounded lovely.
Yeah, that was a nice swing. Almost a little bit of a fadey one for me.
Really nice, mate. Well, you know your natural delivery still is a little bit out to in, isn't it, right? So 1 degree out to in, face basically dead square. So you see a tiny little fade, but still very good. Pretty good strike, exactly on that right height. And again, we know you're launching spinny, right? Which is kind of half the reason we're going to be demonstrating why something from the Launch Spec for you is going to be pretty horrendous. 23 degrees of launch there, 6,350 backspin, carrying around mid 150s, which is probably there or thereabouts for you for a 7 iron. Peak height 112, descent angle 51. So even with that one, you're hitting it arguably too high.
Yeah. I mean, even if I was going to play T250, I would definitely play it a degree or two strong.
Yeah. And that's purely a byproduct of effectively your speed's coming up now. You know, you used to see you at sort of like 80. Now you're at mid to high 80s.
Yeah, almost like 87, 88, I would say.
So speed creates height, but you still deliver too much loft. So speed's up, loft's still too high, the launch is high, and with the speed, it keeps climbing to creating too much height. That sounded pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Little Healy.
Good one. I mean, that's 2 great shots, isn't it? I mean, that's
done fine.
Pretty representative of what we would see for a fairly decent shot for you. Yeah, like I say, even maybe a touch lower in that heel, but still 155 carry, really neutral delivery. But a similar thing, 3 down, not really taking off any loft. We know that static loft is 30.5, so you're not taking off too much loft, which is pretty standard for you. But again, 22 launch, 63 spin. So yeah, it's kind of about where you are with that. Good average data set there, 22 launch, 6,300 backspin, 154 carry, basically what we saw on those 2 shots that we showed you. So now let's jump into the Launch Spec, and this is going to be interesting.
Do we need to warn the aviation authorities? Is there any low-flying planes or helicopters?
That sounded nice.
Yeah, that was struck quite well, I would say, or certainly
Definitely.
better. Look at that loft.
Definitely goes up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good. It's
that was
good.
actually quite a good strike, to be fair. Maybe a groove low, but I mean, it's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I hit that well, I would say.
A very similar delivery characteristic, 3 down, not taking off any loft. If anything, maybe you added a slight bit of loft there, which wouldn't have helped, but 26 launch, 8,100 backspin. Wow. Even if that were an 8 iron, as some people might say in the other set, it would be an 8 iron, like that's still way too much spin.
Like I hit my 8 iron 7 yards further than that, probably about 147. So yeah.
Talk about loft is king, right? But there are some other things going on in this head. I do think for the loft, it does spin really well as well. So it's high loft and it spins really well. Yeah, that sounded better.
Yeah, that was
Slam dunk.
That was a decent golf swing, that one.
Nice. Really, really good strike. Again, a really solid delivery from you. It's just, even within that extra loft, it's certainly delivering even more loft. I mean, that 27 launch, I mean, we've hit a lot of 7 irons in this studio, and you've tested a lot of 7 irons. I've never seen one launch that high.
No.
That's insane.
That's launching higher than my 8 iron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like you say, it is loft, and loft is a big part of why this launch is so high, but there's definitely something else going on in the design of that head that's creating an insane amount of launch. 119 peak height, 53 descent angle. That's, yeah, that's crazy. So we'll compare that data. It's not loads of shots hit, but that's 6 good shots with the standard T250 and 7 good shots with the launch spec. Really, that's all we need to hit to get a good idea of what these clubs are doing for you, and we know they are terrible. A couple of interesting things though. The highest peak height with the standard T250 was 112. The highest peak height with the launch spec was 115. Actually, sorry, it's 119. 190. So that's still only 7 feet higher, which is actually not dramatic considering the difference in the launch and spin in the loft. But I guess this is where it becomes interesting, because you've got a very spinny, launchy delivery, right? You deliver too much loft, but you've got a reasonable amount of speed.
Yeah.
And we know that speed creates height. So even if it is launching and spinning higher, like it's just kind of floating and dying. So it kind of just doesn't keep going up, and it kind of drops and dies. So for you, these clubs are just absolutely pointless because there's no gain. There's absolutely no gain at all, because we know that you get plenty of height, if not anything, still too much height with the standard T250.
I do,
right?
yeah.
So normally in a fit, we're trying to optimize up and forward. Like in both of these, arguably, you probably still get too much up. So definitely going to a head that's designed to launch and spin like hell is definitely not going to help you. And looking at the average numbers there, you lost about 5 mile an hour ball speed. Going into the launch spec, it launched 3 degrees higher, span over 1,000 revs more, and we lost 14 yards of carry on average. And again, you can see their dispersion pretty much the same, front to back, left to right, very, very comparable. Club speed, you did pick up 1 mile an hour, to be fair. So like, as we said in my data set, I think it was 1.6 mile an hour faster or something, but you did pick up swing speed. So you swung it faster.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. Felt that as well, to be fair.
And again, similar from a delivery perspective, you know, angle of attack was same. Path actually got a little bit more out to in with the standard T250, but you know, the reality is we've shown enough about what we need to show there for you to know that why that's a terrible club for you. And it's just an example for viewers, right, as to why it might be good for someone at low swing speed, where actually if we gain a bit of height, you don't lose a dramatic amount of carry, but you do definitely gain control. But for someone like Tom with a bit more speed, you can get a bit lofty. Something like this is obviously horrendous. So it's just that 2 ends of the spectrum, right? Just to give you a bit of an example as who they might be good for, who they might not be good for. But as always, it doesn't matter what we do. It's entertaining, right? But go get fitted. It's the only way you're ever going to know what clubs work for you. So there we go, a good test of the brand new T250 launch spec, taking you through all of the numbers, giving you a good idea of who this iron could be good for. If you've got any questions, please do post them in the comments below. But as always, we really hope you enjoy it. Please stay tuned, we've got loads more coming. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.